That's why we came up with a challenge called the Alkaline Lifestyle Challenge. Can you do that? It's a 180-day terrain modification program. From acidic lifestyle to an alkaline lifestyle. And then Brent has got a lot of people to talk to because you have no choice now to want to become sustainable externally. Once the internal body starts to not be overrun by this simple question, do you live to eat or do you eat to live? These are esoteric questions again. So if you ask that question, do you eat to live or do you live to eat? Think about that. Do you live to eat or do you eat to live? Eating to live would mean that most likely you're sustainable and the creature load inside you right now is very minimal. But I ask my dad all the time, he says, the most important 3 things of my day, and the happiest things of my day are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that tells me you're living to eat. See, once the body becomes sustainable, it's actually a hydrogen engine. Did you know that? This machine thrives off of alkaline water. It thrives off of calcium, potassium, sodium, magnesium, zinc, boron, and silicon. Our flavor buds, of course, are for sociality. But you can see, if you're not the master of your emotions, all you have to do is keep on looking at yourself, feeling yourself. And once you do, you'll be able to actually feel that maybe you're not in control. Are you hungry? Really? How about I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm going to show you what's really hungry. This is a good tape for people to see. It's done by the Discovery Channel. It's called Parasites, Eating Us Alive. So like I said, so what? Everybody has parasites. Even this book says everybody has parasites. What are you going to do about it now if you find out this is the sickness called cancer? If you could change the word cancer to parasite, you just ask the question, you say, what does it eat? How does it live? And if it is a parasite, then I could manipulate it because it lives within me. Let's go ahead and start the PowerPoint. And the first thing that I want to go over is problems, reactions, and solutions. Simple solutions. Because if it's too complex, remember, we're wasting our time. If it's too expensive, can't do it. And if it's not efficient, you're already too bloody busy. Okay? So this has got to be very easy for the collective crowd to be able to play. So, problems, reactions, and solutions. Are you ready for the shift? And you're saying, what shift? Well, we've just been talking about it a little bit. Remember, you need to do your homework now to find out that this is true. First thing tonight, if it's clear, I want you to look at the couple of disciples. One is Venus and one is Jupiter. And ask yourself, why are they so bright, brilliant, and illuminated? Because the sun is illuminating their atmospheres, their energy bodies. So if that's the case, if you could see Earth, don't you think that since we live in the heliosphere of this bubble, that this Earth is not being also given more light, more consciousness? Of course. So this is the revealing right now. We, right now, are actually becoming more human, whether we like it or not. That's the best part. It's called God games. Remember, it's an infinite game, so if you can't get it this carnation, don't worry. Remember, it's a forever game. Okay? So, at this time right now, the heralding energy. Are you ready for the shift? Let's go to the next one. Now, this gives you a little better idea. Instead of in the morning looking at your dramatized emails that you get from a lot of people, the first thing I do in the morning is I go on spaceweather.com and I check out and see what Christos is doing. Okay? And spaceweather.com is going to talk to you about all of this. Remember, it's all written out for you if you want to see it. And again, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Okay? All you can do is hang with its change. Oh, we're going to have lots and lots of people leaving the planet here. Why? Because they're not going to stay in tune. Remember, the vibration of the planet is rising. Do you know what the vibration of the planet is right now, anybody? Or do you know about the symbolization of the dollar bill? Why is there so many 13s on that dollar bill? Pull a dollar bill out and you'll see that the eagle is holding 13 feathers, okay? Or 13 arrows. You'll see that there's 13 stars. You'll see that there's a 13-stair pyramid. How did an Egyptian pyramid get on an American dollar bill? Why is there 13 steps to that pyramid with an all-seeing eye? How about if we see, just like this gentleman said here, we're going to be passing the galactic center's equator. How about that all-seeing eye is this thing called GC, and once we reach 13 cycles, we are going to check out the galactic center, the all-seeing eye. Okay? This is an illumination that actually is physical, it's mental, it's ethereal, it's emotional. Have you cried lately? Have you felt depressed lately? Well, it means maybe we need to actually step ourselves up to the energy. So remember, there's 50 million people in the United States on Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil right now, or antidepressants. Why is that? Is it maybe because we are not keeping in tune with everything else around us? Okay? So as you can see, sunspots. You'll see another really good website for you to check out. It's called earthchangesmedia.com. Excellent. This is the second website you look at in the day. First one, spaceweather.com. Remember? You want to see what the big picture's doing? Then you want to see what the terrestrial picture's doing, because this is the real news. You'll see all the earthquakes, the hurricanes, you'll see all the changes on the planet that most of the traditional systems will not tell you, because then you might get that there is a real change. And it's not because you're SUV. Okay? Now, you'll see that, like we talked about, the sun has been at its deepest minimum that we have ever known. So if it's in its deepest minimum, that would mean that it's going to go up into its maximum of maximums. Okay? It's a sine wave. It goes down as an in-breath and up as an out-breath. Okay? On spaceweather.com just a few weeks ago, the sun had a coronal hole in it from top to bottom. We had two huge, these called CMEs, coronal mass ejections. You even had on spaceweather.com, the other day, you had in the Arctic Circle, Aurora Borealis in the day. Remember, it's coming. What's coming? Christos is coming back to town. It's lighting back up to full breath. Remember, we're not talking terrestrial there. We're talking about a cosmic celebration. And remember, the Pope wears these crosses. It's behind Christos' head on the Da Vinci painting. It's on all the kings and queens. I call it the galaxy game. And every time our sun crosses one of these constellations, the top constellation of the cross is Leo. The bottom constellation is Aquarius. The constellation to the east is Scorpio. And the constellation to the west is Taurus, the bull. Okay? So when you see that these are the constellations of the galactic center's radiant energy, the galactic center is this big, huge ball. Remember I said, who runs the show? The galactic center does. GC. Remember, not JC runs the show maybe on this planet, but GC runs the show. The galactic center, or galactic Christ, runs the show all throughout this thing that says, I am everything and everything is me. Okay? These are all symbols and symbolism. You ever heard of as above, so below? So if as above, the sun, is terrain modifying everything below, I think that would be very valid to be able to see this reasonable and logical truth. This isn't fluff. Okay? So the sun gets sunspots. It then gets what's called solar flares. And those black holes in the sun, those are wormholes. Remember we talked about that before? Helical, conical, spherical, rotational movement through the wormhole. It's a 1.618 logarithmic spiral called the spiral of life. Everything follows it in nature in an implosional state. And then once we get this sunspot solar flare, we get these magnetic shifts and we get changes. The planet gets changes only because it's just modifying itself to the new energy. Think all these volcanoes. There's 13 volcanoes going off in the Caribbean right now. You're living on the tallest mountain in the world right now. We're right now close to sea level, but we're still 30,000 or so feet energetically. Take that water away 5 miles and you're in a special spot if your body can handle it. You're not at 30,000 feet sea level. No, you're at energetically 30,000 feet. Remember, this is a huge pyramid. And you're sort of like part way up it. Take away the water and I think we'll have to put a few jackets on. Okay? So, go to the next. Remember, is it global warming or is it solar system warming? Go to the next one. Now, you can see the size of the Earth. And the thing's at peak. And the sun, remember, is just a small sun. Because if you look at the bigger suns, let's look at the big. Remember, who runs the show? It's the galactic center. You know how big? Anybody know what the galactic center is, the size of it? The galactic center is 4.3 light years wide. Now, it doesn't sound like it's big. Okay, let's see what a light year is. 186,200 miles per second for 4.3 light years would be to just across its face. You'd have to travel the speed of light for 4.3 light years just to travel across the face of this thing. Okay, no one knows what it is. You can't even look at it, otherwise you get burned up. But we're going to travel through its energetic tails. Remember, the Pope wears this big cross, okay? And if you look at the center of the cross, this is called 0 point. This is where all the action is. This is where the two, time and space, actually become one. It's the wormhole. And so we're 25,000 light years, because we breathe 25,920 breaths a day. Do you know how many years it takes to make our sun to go around the galactic center? Same, 25,920 years. Do you know each time we go to one of these little crosses, it's 6,480 years? So we go to the next, remember, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. Each one of those are 6,480 year cycles like a clock. Terence McKenna will tell you, time wave 0. There's a lot of scholars, and if you open up your mouth too much, you get silenced. Greg Braden was talking about a lot of the vibrations on the planet. He doesn't talk about that anymore. I'm not sure why. But it's true. 6,480 years times 4 is 25,920, isn't it? Okay? Remember, you do breathe 18 times a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day. 18 times 60 times 24, everybody got a calculator? It's 25,920. Check it out. Okay? That's how many breaths you do a day. Remember, it's called your breath day. 25,920 breaths. And I said, are you breathing? No, I do once in a while. But it breathes us all, doesn't it? Okay, and what's it? Oh, the planetary spirit. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Sort of this weird stuff we sort of hear about in the fluffy text of the New Age